Well, there are significant negative implications involved when a parent is incarcerated, particularly, and in most cases, and we're talking about fathers, although there are, because that covers about 90% of the cases, although there are some different impacts, some different and perhaps even more intense impacts when mom gets incarcerated. But when dad gets incarcerated, it's really interesting because most of the time dad wasn't there in the first place. Okay, an incarcerated father was usually an absent father before he was incarcerated. But what often was in place were court orders requiring child support payments, and so there was the court ordered mandate and or the stigma associated with you're not taking care of little Raheem, okay? But when dad gets knocked off and he's sent away, he can't do that, okay? He may have, because, and what is interesting is the money that he owes continues to accrue while he's locked up, and often he has to write and let child support know, I'm incarcerated, don't add any more headache, to the problem, because I'm not in a position where I can write you a check now. I'm incarcerated at this present time. And in addition to that, anytime an inmate gets incarcerated, a person is incarcerated, they have fines that they have to pay. Depending on what the judge assesses. But what that does do is that money is taken away from the child. And so there is a significant socioeconomic impact that has on the family because that money is not there. Okay, so that may require mom to do some things. Okay. Whether legally or illegally, or legally and illegally, okay? And that has a deleterious effect often on the child, okay? And when you compound that, if mom gets knocked off, because if mom gets knocked off, now the child is left without both parents. And see, in 90% of the cases, if a father gets, and this is statistics, these are true statistics. In 90% of the cases where the father is locked up, the mother takes care of the child. But when the mother gets knocked off, and there has been over a 35-year period, there was an 839% increase in the rate of incarceration among women. 839%, and it is largely due to the relationship that she's had with the guy, because often she's the co-defendant. Okay, she's codependent emotionally and psychologically, and she's the co-defendant legally. Okay, and so when mom gets knocked off, the child is usually without both parents, because when mom gets knocked off, even if dad is out on the street, dad only is the primary caregiver in 28% of the cases. In more than half the cases, grandmom, usually the maternal grandmother, is the caregiver. Often, the child sees the mother get arrested. And that has a significant impact, because now you're adding a significant amount of trauma. And so as it relates to the teaching environment and the school environment, and what a teacher can do, a teacher needs to be aware of what's going on. Okay, we're talking about consciousness raising, and this is not the kind of thing that is usually incorporated, from what I understand, in continuing education. The continuing education of the teachers. They have professional development training. This needs to be a part of the professional development training. I did last year. In fact, this is a copy of it. I did a training last year for a child for child advocacy, a child welfare agency, a private child welfare agency that is known throughout the state of New Jersey, because they were trying to put the pieces together and programmatically. They had tried to, for example, a few years before, to reunite previously incarcerated parents who had come home with their children, but they had difficulty. You know, the program failed, from what I understand, miserably, because they didn't really have an understanding of what it was that they were dealing with. And so I was brought in as a consultant to do a training on, look, this is what this looks like. So there you have it.